Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich buses today. A single from only £1.20, a return from only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Monday night Talking Town extra time. I can see the chat is absolutely buzzing. We love a buzzing chat, so get those comments in. We're, of course, going to be looking back to the weekend, but also looking ahead to tomorrow night. I say we, it's not actually going to be we. I will tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. But first of all, a new week is upon us, my friends. Week 28 of our Prediction League, 4 fixtures. Takes 60 seconds to enter. Portsmouth versus Ipswich, Scunthorpe versus Colchester, Shawsey versus Cambridge, and Leeds versus Norwich. 4 fixtures. The link will be in the chat, in the description, and in the comments after the show. So please do get involved and take part. And also a huge thank you to our monthly Talking Town 5th Stand Ultras, the guys and girls that support the show regularly, allow us to do this show, yesterday's shows, tomorrow's shows, all the shows that we do. We couldn't possibly do it without anybody that contributes £1 to £10 to whatever it is you contribute. So a huge thank you to every single one of these glorious people, including Victoria Henderson's also made the list. Finally, we've updated it and she's on there. Well deserved. Right. I said it wasn't going to be we. Well, last year, for International Women's Day, we interviewed prominent women footballers, fans. We had Natasha Thomas, I can't get my words out, on the platform. Well, this year, I am going to go one further. We're going to hand over to 3 wonderful ladies, 3 wonderful Ipswich Town fans. It is a takeover. I am disappearing, and your host for this evening is the wonderful Amy Downs. It is her show. It is her agenda. She has got the talking points. I literally have no idea where tonight is going except 1 to 11s. That bit is all I know because I had to do the artwork.
Yes, and we were very grateful for your contributions to tonight's show, Martin. Like, you do an amazing job. I don't know how you do it, talking on here every single night, how you find so many things to talk about with it when it comes to Ipswich. But we felt that it was time you could put your feet up for the evening, go and relax, and let the ladies show everybody what we can do for once. And I'm really excited about who's joining us.
Looking forward to this show. I truly am. It's about time this happened, and I'm so excited to listen to you. So tell us what's going on with our football club. So Amy, have a great...
Thank you ever so much, Martin. So I am so happy to be here. As you guys know, I love being part of this podcast. I help with the Thursday away day show, so I can see loads and loads of familiar names. So thank you everybody for being here. Do drop us a message. Let us know how you got on this weekend. I know a few of you were there because I've seen you tweeting about it. So let me know what you thought of the game. We've got a few things to talk about tonight, but without further ado, I will bring in our other contributors today. I'm so pleased with the 2 ladies that we've got joining us today. They are amazing. So first of all, she is an old hand at Talking Town now. I'm so proud to have helped her get involved with this channel, and she is I would like to think one of your favorites too, my fellow Northern Yorkshire lass, Vicky. Hello, sweetie. How are you doing?
Hi, Amy. I'm good. How are you?
I'm really excited. Thank you. We had a wonderful, finally got to have an away day together at the start of this season, didn't we? And we're just waiting to combine together and be able to get to another one soon. Hopefully we'll manage it. Not got many games left now. We definitely do. We definitely do. It was good, great fun in the pub in Bolton. What did you think to my choice of away day pubs that day? Not Bolton, it was Accrington, wasn't it?
It was Accrington. Don't remind me. with hindsight, I wish I'd joined you in the Jaeger bombs because that match was shit. Let's face it, it was absolutely shit. But I didn't. You outdrunk me. Hats off to you. It was all right. I mean, they were a bit divey, weren't they? They weren't exactly the Ritz or anything, but they were all right.
We found a pub called the Nag's Head, and my friend Alan was absolutely determined that we would go in the Nag's Head because he's a massive Only Fools fan. And then he got overexcited because he met someone called Albert in there, didn't he? And he was that was just the way that day was going. But yeah, Accrington was a lovely day off the pitch, but not so great off the on the pitch. Unfortunately,
No,
I have
not
a
at
terrible
all.
record there.
Never again.
No, I think we've ticked Accrington off the list now, haven't we? Won't be returning. Before we go on, I'm going to introduce the wonderful Francine. This is her first time on the Talking Town podcast, so I hope you will all welcome her. Francine has been doing some amazing work with the Rainbow Tractors this season. She is a season ticket holder. She's a massive town fan. I think she's wonderful, and I'm so happy that we're getting to chat with her tonight. So let's welcome in for the first time, Francine. Hello, darling. How are you doing?
Hi,
I'm all right, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know both Martin and myself are really pleased to have you on. Do you want to tell everybody whereabouts in Portman Road do you sit? Where's your season ticket?
North Stand Lower.
Obviously. And have you been there like all the time?
I've been there. All my time as a season ticket holder has been there. Before I was a season ticket holder, we used to sit in the Sir Ralph Ramsey lower. So we've just swapped ends because we wanted a bit of atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. That's the place to go for it, isn't it? That's I'm hoping to come down for the Cambridge game. And
my cousin's come into that game.
Is she?
She's now 12. So
brilliant.
She can now go. The Fleetwood game was her first time in the North Stand Lower. And I was a bit nervous because I thought, but she loved it. So I never have to leave in North Stand again when she comes.
You can take her in there.
Corrupt her.
Inducting her into the Ipswich family. I love it. That's absolutely as it should be. Matt says, evening, Francine, how are you? So yeah, let's without further ado, let's move on. What I thought it would be good to do first of all is just have a quick chat about why Martin has very kindly suggested that we do our takeover tonight and why it's so important, because I know for all three of us the gender equality and inclusion in general is such a massive thing for us. So Vicky, perhaps you the first one. How did you feel when we revealed the connection with Her Game 2 lately?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. I do have to say, we're year 2022 now, so it shouldn't have taken this long to get us included, but it's really good. However, I do want to say that I have never had an issue going to any match. I've had the odd comment and message on Twitter, but they're your keyboard warriors, and honestly, they really do not. I don't care for them at all. They get back as good as they give. You know me, Amy. I have never had a problem at the match. So whether that's because of the people I go with, or the people I sit around, or the fans, it's always been good. But of course, it's a good campaign to get us involved too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think it's fair to say that the research that I was doing after that football supporters survey came out a little while ago, the research that I did amongst Ipswich fans was generally that we are, as female fans, we feel comfortable in general at football games. And I think that's testament to what an inclusive community our fans try to be. But there is no doubt, Vicky, the reason that you and I met for a game, well, was so we could have a few drinks together for definite, but I feel like we're lucky to have these people to go with. There are definitely female fans out there who don't have people to go with, and
Absolutely.
that puts them off going. So I'm really hoping that the Her Game 2 specifically is going to help more women to get involved with this WhatsApp group that Liz Edwards has set up and be able to just chat with us beforehand and know that they're not going to have to go to the game on their own. There'll be someone there, because I do think that makes a difference when you're, even just being in the pub with a load of blokes. Sometimes it's nice to have other birds around, isn't it? So, but yeah, so that is
Well,
that is
if
wonderful.
anybody is wanting to go to a game and they're on their own, give me a shout, because you can come and sit with me with pleasure.
And I would highly recommend it. Vicky's great fun on a day out. We love it. And Francine, it's tomorrow is level playing. What did they call it? Level playing field, wasn't it? The club have announced today that they're talking about their soccer site and what we do as a club at Portman Road to help people with impaired vision. And it just feels like there's a lot going on in the club at the moment to help people from different parts of our community who you kind of take for granted how easy it is for us to just go and watch a game. So I really love almost the diversity that we're seeing at the club this year. Have you felt that through Rainbow Tractors as well?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a year ago, it's coming up to a year since we relaunched Rainbow Tractors, and the progress this season is incredible. I didn't imagine it when I sat down a year ago with my long-term goals. I've met them. So I've met them in a year. So I mean, the club, obviously, with her game too, and all the stuff that obviously they're clearly doing behind the scenes for fans who are disabled or have impaired vision. It's incredible what they're doing to try and make sure that everyone is able to access coming to see Ipswich play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody should be excluded into going to a football match. It should be open to everybody, and I'm not naive enough to think that happens all the time, because it doesn't, and clearly why we've got these groups. But it should. We should have everybody should be able to go to a football match and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt's just asked about the Vision soccer site. It's basically they have a channel at Ipswich within the commentary box. They've got another team of 2 blokes who do the commentary, and you can pick up the headphones from the club. So if you have problems with your hearing, with your sight, you can grab these headphones and the radio from the club, and you can tune into the specific channel that they've got. And these guys just do a little bit more description than what Brenner does on BBC Suffolk, for example. They're really specific about where players are on the pitch and where they're moving to, just to really help these fans be able to enjoy the game as much as us. There's a lovely video, as Stephen's just said, there was a lovely video that they've got today with Maddie Reeder, who's the Her Game 2 ambassador for the club, and she's partially sighted as well. So really fascinating just to see how much of a difference that's helped her to just feel like part of the club. I think that's really exciting. So nice stuff going on off the pitch at the moment. There is they have just announced as well a minute's applause for the Ukraine, which is really touching. We will be dressed all in blue, and Lincoln are going to be dressed all in yellow for tomorrow. So that's just really nice to see football. Yeah, absolutely, Vic. So I think football on Saturday, football really felt completely irrelevant to me. I was just with everything else that's going on in the world. And of course it isn't. There's a friend of mine who was there, funnily enough, Alan, who we mentioned earlier. It's the first win he's seen since before the pandemic. But you get to the point, don't you, where you see all these videos on what's going on over there and you think, oh gosh, it's only a football game. But these are the reasons we enjoy life, aren't they? To go to football games. So really nice to see that we're having a tribute to the Ukraine tomorrow night. I think that's a cracking move from the club. Before we go on to tomorrow, though, I would love to hear your views on Saturday. So what your feelings were on since we've had the interviews after the game, and we've seen everybody telling us. I had a lengthy phone call from a couple of people on Saturday telling me how great we were. So Francine, how have you been feeling since that win? Were you expecting us to get a win there at Fleetwood?
I was, but I always predict a win. I
Me and Vicky are like the total opposite.
I think back under Cook, I was a few times I went defeat, but generally I try and always say we're going to win. But from what I've heard, we've played really well. There was a feeling in my head heading into the 60th minute that it was going to be Cheltenham and Morecambe all over again. Just because we were creating chances, we were dominating possession, but not creating anything, and it was seeming like the game was going scrappy. And it's that period after half time against Cheltenham and Morecambe where it just went really, really scrappy and it played into their hands. So it was good to see we got the goal we needed. And from what I can tell, the change was Backinson coming on for Piggott, moving Selena forward was what changed it, because while Selena did a really good job from what I've heard in central midfield, he could open the game up better that little bit further forward. Also gave Morsey the license to drive forwards because Backinson could sit back. And so glad Morsey got his goal. It's been coming. It's been coming. It's every home game I'm there going, he's so close. It's coming.
He had a really close one against Morecambe as well, didn't he? I was like,
did.
oh, where did that come from?
I think and then I think Bond then got the header and it just missed us from
That's
that.
right.
But
believe in it.
So I think that change is what changed the game. But another clean sheet as well.
Huge. Makes such a difference.
Yeah, I very rarely look at go into a game thinking that other team are going to score now, because you look at that defence and think it's got to be something we've either got to really, really mess up, or it's got to be an incredible goal for them to get past that back five. So
whereas I think under Cook it was just constant individual errors, wasn't it? It was just and how are they making those mistakes?
And every mistake led to a goal.
Yeah.
And the mistakes were gamely as well. Whereas now, I mean, Thompson made the mistake against Morecambe, and that led to their goal. But while he's made the odd mistake and he's not been amazing, nothing has been so catastrophic that we've conceded.
Yeah.
And with Walton in goal, he's not a League One goalkeeper. He's a championship, at least championship level goalkeeper we've got there. So
no, absolutely. And I suppose that's the point we're getting to now, isn't it? When you look at these players starting to come into their own and you start to wonder, okay, there's the question of if we go up, but me being me, I'd already written this season off. Normally I'm the most, honestly, I was talking to my dad about it at the weekend. I was like, 2015, I was the most positive, we're going to win the playoffs, we're going to be amazing. I must just be getting old now. I'm just like, no, we won't even get there. But assuming we don't go up, there's got to be some of these players now who are starting to show they're ready for that next step up. So what would you say, Vicky? Who would you expect? If you had to pick 3 that you think probably will go if we don't go up, who would you say?
I think Morsey's on odds on to go, to be honest. He did struggle to begin with to kind of fit into the team, but he's grown and is a championship player all day long, isn't he? So definitely him. And I think that Burns will go. I don't want him to. God, I'm ready to piggy bank as it stands to try and keep him. But I think that he will have attracted the attention of probably mid to lower end of the championship table. Of course, it depends what bids we get for him. I'm not saying he won't go or he will go, but I think some bids will come in for him. And the other one being, I think, Edmondson. Because he's solid, isn't he? He's just a solid, reliable defender. So I think those are the 3 that I would put my money on.
Yeah. And it would be a shame because Morsey, Edmondson, Walton, they're starting to feel like the backbone of the team, aren't they? I think I'll go back into Mick McCarthy era there, but where he always talks about the backbone of the team, we are starting to get that now, aren't we? And interesting that you mentioned Chelina there. I think the fan base for a little while had been a little bit split over whether he's quite measuring up to what he had the potential to do this year. But the last couple of games, all I'm seeing is everybody saying how amazing he's been lately.
He's fabulous. And the worry, Amy, is that if Burns, Edmondson and Morsey does go and we lose Selena because we can't afford his wages, and we don't get Bon. And I know he hasn't done an awful lot recently, but, you know, I think you said form is temporary, class is permanent.
Yeah.
We're losing a good portion of a team that we've gelled together. Now, we don't know what McKenna's going to do, what players he's got his eyes on, what he'll bring into the, you know, when he has his own budget. But that's got to be a worry. It's got to be a worry that you're potentially losing 4 to 5 players who are game changers.
Of course, it could go the other way, and the players might be really buying into McKenna. They might be saying, "Oh, I'd rather stay a year," and hopefully they're all starting to like the club now, seeing what the new owners are doing for us and stuff like that. Like, they came at the beginning of this new chapter for us, didn't they? So part of me thinks some of them have got to want to see that through now and get us up.
I think most of them will stay. Loan players, I think that's 50-50 on wages and what McKenna's looking for. But I can't more see Burns. I don't think they're bought into this club and what McKenna's doing. I think they'll give it a season. I know they probably came on the basis of it's only going to be one season in League One. But I think they're all buying into and loving playing. You can see it when they're on the pitch. They're loving playing under McKenna. So
but that's the worry, isn't it? It's what they were told at the beginning of last season. If they came based on a promise that this was the last season in League One, and a championship team comes in for them,
it depends on the level of the bid. Because I think, I mean, Walton is just, someone mentioned Walton down there. Walton's only just signed a deal. Fridge's deal was 4 years. We'd be wanting significant amount of money for all of them. I think, and if we were offered silly money, then yes, but I think it will take a lot of money for us to say yes. But I think that they'll stay, because I think if we don't go up this season, which I don't think we will, I think we'll just miss out on the playoffs. I think it'll be a 7th job.
But and how good would that be when you look at like, I'm totally fine with that. I can totally accept that. Like, what a job McKenna's done.
I think that the players will buy into it and think, oh, we could do something next season. You know, we could because we're not conceding, we're tearing teams apart. If we scored a goal, if we had someone who was a striker who was in form, we'd be tearing teams apart.
Yeah,
like we'd regularly be scoring more than 3 goals a game.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that earlier. I'll tell you about this in a minute. But there was a wonderful tweet today from the Twitter account called Ipswich Culture. I think the person behind that is amazing. But the stats were, so McKenna's been in charge for 13 games. We've scored 17 goals in those 13 games. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, hang on, we're all moaning that we can't score, and that's quite a lot of goals. Like, that's every game. And I was like, are we really
not from
struggling
strikers,
that much?
is it? That's not from strikers,
but it's also like the number of chances we've not scored. So if you go back to the Cheltenham game, then we could have been and should have been 4-0 up at half time, because Burns had 2 clear-cut chances. I think Thompson had a good chance, which he did a left-back shot. That's what I call it, a left-back shot, because it went top of the Sir Ralph Ramsey stand.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we had in the second half, we had Edmondson coming close. We had balls flying in the box. Back post. If we had someone in the back post, we would have scored multiple goals. It's my biggest frustration at games is when...
Isn't that the first thing you get taught when you play as a defender, is have someone on the back post?
I've become quite close with the people behind me. And every single time we turn around and we go, back post. But that we're creating so many more chances. So when we are saying we're not scoring enough, 17 is great when you look at the number of games, but look at the number of chances we're creating. That's where the frustration's coming, I think, because we should have scored 4 goals in fair number of games recently, but we haven't. And I think that's the frustration, is when we're missing what looks like from the stands and on I follow simple chances.
Yeah. I think that's really well explained. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Some lovely comments coming in response to what we've just been saying about which players we think will stay and go. A lot of people feeling like should be all right to keep people for another year, but it's an absolute must win next year. We've got to go up, otherwise we're
Oh,
just
Amy, how
starting to
many
struggle.
years have we been saying
I
this?
know.
Next year is a must. It has to happen next season. I mean, come on. It's been a long, long time. I think, this is Ipswich. You've just got to roll with those bloody punches, haven't you? It's just one of those things. Yeah, it'd be nice if we went up as champions next year. The trouble is, Division 1 now is becoming as competitive as the Championship, and the teams coming down are good. There's some big clubs in there, and we're just one amongst 6, 7, 8 big clubs that are trying to get out of this bloody shit division.
Yeah.
I think the good thing with us now, though, is that with the new owners and what we've got beginning to start, I think that puts us in a better position than, say, Sheffield Wednesday, who are in a bit of a mess at the moment because of their ownerships. Think Derby, if they don't manage the amazing feat that they look like they might, if they come down, if they've got new owners, they're going to be a mess because they've got their team this season is pretty much built off young players who aren't probably ready for a full season of football. They've done great. I've got no disrespect to any of them. They've done amazing. But they're 18, 19-year-olds who have been thrown in because they can't afford anyone else.
Yeah.
You always have a Barnsley who are doing well, but if Reading come down, they're a shit show as well. So you've got multiple
Barnsley
clubs.
are looking quite likely to come down as well, aren't they? They're normally quite competitive in this league.
They're Rotherham, aren't they? Who? So say, but if you think the number of teams who are big who struggle in this league because either ownership or Sunderland because they're Sunderland. Sunderland are going to Sunderland. But I think that because of our new ownership and the foundation we've got, that puts in a real good stead. Not many clubs are going to have have an average of 20,000 in their third season in League One.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland have big average home game gates, but they've also got a slightly bigger fan base than us anyway in terms of their ground's bigger and and things. But
definitely,
we've got the fan support. 20,000 at most home games this season. We get 25,000 tomorrow. I think we're going to be in a good place compared to the other big clubs in the
feels
league.
Kind of like we're sort of like the momentum is with us at the moment.
Yeah.
And maybe even to the point of even under Kirk, but until we took the even under Lambert, until the new owners came, we were just on a downward spiral that didn't look like it was ever going to stop. We were thinking about League Two at one point. It's ridiculous to think that Ipswich Town were considering that. But now it feels like we had that momentum of going up, whereas those, as much as the thought of, you're absolutely right about Derby. I'm so glad you brought that up. You are right. They aren't going to be the Derby we know, but the thought of having to compete against clubs like them to go up scares the hell out of me. It does make me definitely very nervous. Matt has just said that Martin needs to have more nights off because he's loving the ladies takeover so much. I love it. And then I did see somewhere as well, Lee Brown has asked, are we writing off the season? So I fully admit I already had. But I'm now thinking I did it too quickly. Yeah.
I 100% had completely written it off. I had to chat about it with some other fans, and half of us were going, "Yep, all gone." The other half going, "No, we can still get the playoffs." The last month, I began to think, "Oh, maybe," but the Cheltenham and Morecambe game kind of made me a bit more reserved. I think it will be close because I think we are made under this team to play over. To play against the teams like Wigan and things which are more open because we're not having to find a pass through because teams are sitting back. But I do think we'll miss out. I think we'll just miss out. I think we'll come 7th and just miss out. But like you said, that would be an amazing achievement considering where McKenna started. When it was just about can we keep a clean sheet? Can we win a couple?
Glimmer of hope, isn't there? Isn't it nice to be going into the last 2 months of the season and actually still thinking, we're only 5 points off the playoffs. Where did that come from? Like, I couldn't believe that when I looked at the table. So
we can only do what we can do because the other teams, they're in form, and if we're looking at them, I am writing the season off. But all we can do is keep winning. And if we keep winning, we're in with a chance because it's mathematically possible. And until it's mathematically impossible, then there is that glimmer of hope. But agreed. It's just we've got to stop looking at the other teams because we can only do, if we keep winning, then we're in with a chance.
I think that's the problem is the other side. We've got too many other teams to build ground on. There's too many teams in between us. So we're having to say, you need to drop points. And some of them have got games in hand on us as well. And I think that could be really help because they have too many games and they get tired. Or it could work against us because they get momentum. But I think my reason for being a bit less optimistic is because there are so many teams that we're asking to lose or draw between the end of now and the end of the season.
I definitely don't think any of us have written it off. I think it's just cautiously optimistic, maybe not even optimistic for my part, but I don't know. We're very cautious, keeping our feet on the ground about it, and how nice it will be just to have these the final games where we actually feel like we're playing for something. So McKenna said today these next 3 games that we've got. Obviously, there's Lincoln tomorrow, there's Pompey, then there's Oxford away, and then there's Plymouth, which is the one you said you're going to, Vix. So we've got some really important games coming up, and McKenna has said this will be a good indicator of where we're at, which sounds very sensible to me. What do you guys reckon out of those tomorrow Pompey, Oxford, Plymouth, so the next 4 games that we've got in the next couple of weeks, I think it is? What would you be looking for us to get points wise?
I'd be looking for a win tomorrow. I know that Lincoln beat Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, but their form isn't great. So I think that we've got a really good chance to get 3 points tomorrow. Oxford worries me because they are just, I know it's crazy to say, I mean, it's bloody Oxford, but they are on fire at the minute, and they're probably right up there at the form table. Portsmouth, I think we've got a good chance again of getting 3 points. Plymouth, I'll go for a draw.
I think we'll win tomorrow and beat Plymouth. I think Portsmouth will be the tougher game. I think we'll draw against them, and I think I'll go for a draw against Oxford because I don't like saying we're going to lose. So I think we'll get 2 wins and 2 draws. So I'd be happy with that out of the next 4 games.
That really carries on as well, doesn't it? Our average points per game at the minute is 2.7, which is just you can't see us losing many out of the coming games given the form that we're in tonight. Neil's asked about a link. Neil, it is my second time hosting a show, so I think Martin's been gentle with me tonight and tried to keep it simple. We will keep it to the ladies tonight, but we are loving all of the comments that are coming through, so thank you to all of you. So shall we have a look at our predicted 1 to 11s, our predicted teams for tomorrow night? I personally am starting to feel like the team's picking itself. What about you guys?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just that up front is where those 3 forward positions are where changes often happen, but the rest of the team is set, I think.
Yes, yep, that's true. There is still some positions to discuss. I'm hoping Martin's going to he's got some lovely graphics ready for us. I'm hoping he's going to pop those up for us. So in terms of changes maybe from the team since Saturday, what did you go for, Francine? Can you remember what you decided earlier?
Yes. I think I can remember.
There we go.
Backinson, I think, will come in the middle. And I think Selena, I'd go Selena, Bon and Jackson as a 3. The reason I've gone for Bon up there with them is because I think he would really thrive off Jackson's low balls into the box. And Selena picks himself for me at the moment.
Yeah.
And so does Jackson, which I can't believe we're saying. I love him. I have done ever since he arrived. So I'm glad he's come back in and he's fought for his place. Although I'm surprised that we are saying he's going to like a definite starter, but I think I think Piggott does help him create space, and he, from all accounts, did a decent job against Fleetwood at the weekend. I think that Bon is potentially more likely to get the goals from Jackson's balls into the box.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's totally fair. I think that's absolutely fair. That you've got lots of people agreeing with you in the comments as well. Neil Perks says, been saying Bon and Jackson. I'm with you, Jackson. I think I'd reached a point where I was like, Amy, you maybe a bit too kind on him. Like, let's just start being more sensible now. And then as soon as I was like, oh, maybe he's not that great after all, he just absolutely storms it. I'm so pleased for him. But it goes
to show,
fickle
as fans, though, aren't we? Because
we really
5 games ago, we hated Jackson. And like when the team sheet went up and there's Jackson, we're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I can't believe he's there. And then he scores 1 or 2 and gets into the game, and it's like, oh yay, it's all hail Jackson.
What I love is that he was completely out of it, and it's the same with Wolfenden as well. The way that under Cook, not a chance. They played in the Papa John's Trophy, and even if they had a good game, they weren't going to be seen in the league. And we all thought that both of them probably were unlikely to play. We'd have loved Wolfenden to come back in, but under Cook, we didn't see it happening because for some reason Cook didn't like him. But both of them have come back in and gone, no, I'm starting.
Yeah.
You give me a chance, I'm taking it. I'm not going to let you drop me. And you have to give them every bit of credit, because to be where Jackson was to where he is now, that's a really big thing for him in terms of that mental side of it, to go, yeah, he didn't want me, but I'm still going to go for it. So
just Matty squash. Sorry to disappoint.
I give Jackson full credit. I love the fact that he's basically said, I'm playing for this side, you're not going to drop me, and I want a new contract, is what he's pretty much saying, and I hope he does get one.
Of course he does, because prior to 5 games ago, nobody wanted him. So of course he's playing for a new contract.
It would have been so easy for him to just see his last 6 months out, and he'd play but not be bothered, because he'll got a club in League 2 something next season.
Don't get me wrong, Francine. Listen, I'd have Mickey Mouse in there if they'd score goals and influence the game. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, as a set of fans, we are very fickle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
5 games ago, Norwood was the bee's knees, and now it's like, oh Christ, we can't play Norwood because he hasn't put the ball in the net. 10 matches ago, 15 matches ago, it was Bon that was, the bee's knees. At the end of the day, we just want somebody to put on the shirt and play. And I'm not really that bothered who it is.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? We over the next years, the rest of this season, what you need is all of those players, not just one, and pick your favourite and keep it at that. It's having those background. If heaven forbid, if Jackson gets injured, you want to know that Nors is going to be able to come and take over. If Bon,
and
obviously,
isn't
is a
it
bit
nice,
off form
Amy,
at the minute,
that we have that?
So good.
Because there was a time that if one of our strikers got injured, we were literally looking for the
Dobra, not
bathroom
Dobra,
staff
what
to
was-
see if there was a
was
cleaner
it
to come
Drinnen
on.
that Martin loved? Drinnen.
I'd rather have the
He's-
cleaner, to be
He
honest.
scored 30. To be fair to him, I know it's League Two, but he has scored 13 goals.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's. We were talking. I was talking about him earlier this week because my dad refers to Piggott. Anyone who watches KWA will know my dad David and know what he has to say about Piggott. But he refers to him as a younger Hawkins. So we've had a discussion about Hawkins, who scored 6 this season, and Drinnen scored 13. But yeah, when they're your backup options,
Yeah.
I don't want them
a
back,
problem.
Francine.
No.
I don't care whether they've
No.
scored 60 goals. I don't want them back.
But it's like, if you've not got Selena, you've got Aluko, who is class at this level, or Chaplin, who
Yes.
everyone knows. I absolutely love Chaplin.
Me too.
Absolutely adore
Rightly
him.
so.
Yeah. And my only concern with the side is if Burns is out injured. Is that right wing back position?
He's really made that his own, hasn't he? He's superb.
I don't think Vincent Young brings what Burns brings to that side.
Yeah.
He's not the player he used to be, is he?
No. And I'll be happy to give Edwards a shot there, because he's out injured at the moment, so we can't put him in. So my only concern is, in terms of backup, is that right wing back position. If Burns gets injured, and every time he goes down, I turn around and go, "You're not injured, Burns. You're not injured. Get up. You're fine."
Get up, get up, get up.
I shout at him on the pitch. I go, "You're fine. Get up." Because he makes our side. He's so important to how we play. Even when he's like miss-hitting crosses every now and again, like, he's so important to what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vix, you went for a very similar team, I think, didn't you? Did you go for? I think you went for Pigs up front instead, didn't you?
I did. Only because I think he influenced the game more on Saturday than Bon has recently. And look, I love Bon, and I really am quite sorry that his form has dropped a little, and that could be several things. You know, there's lots of things going off the pitch with him, and there's lots of reasons. And it might be that McKenna is building a team without him. You know, that might be the possibility, and that's why he's probably playing Piggott. But although he didn't score a goal, he did influence the game, and that's why I've gone for him.
Yeah. Yep, fair enough. I think I was in total agreement with you both. My only one is I really like Aluko, and I think for me I'd start him in place of who, I don't know. I think I put him in place of Thompson. I can't remember, but I'm every time I see him play, so this is what I went for, because I every time I see him play, I'm always really impressed with him. And I thought he was excellent. The one for me was Cambridge away. I just thought he was the best man on the pitch that day.
His range of passing is what he does so well. So he'll get the ball and he'll be able to find the space, but also find the pass.
Yeah.
It's why there are times I've said I'd play him over Selena, is because Selena's good at dribbling the ball.
Yeah.
Things. Aluko, when teams are deeper, Aluko can find the passes. But if we can fit them both in, I think that would be really good, because Selena can then run with it and things, and Aluko can find those passes that Jackson would probably thrive off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would definitely have Chaplin on the bench to come off the bench and influence the game as well. But again, to have that quality on the bench to come off, whether it's Selena or Chaplin, I mean, how good is that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just not used to it, are we?
No.
So with that in mind, ladies, what score are you guys going for tomorrow? What would you be expecting? Are you going, Francine?
I am. Yes.
Portman Road under the lights. Life doesn't get better than that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I'm off. Obviously, anyone who follows me knows I'm off work at the minute, so I can actually get to Ipswich at a decent time and go to the pub before the game. Because when I was working, it was like a sprint to, get from work back home, get changed, get to the station. So it means I can have a couple of pints before the game. But yeah, I've gone 3-0. I can't see us.
Confident.
I can't see us conceding just because
Yeah.
we're very solid at the back, and I think that Lincoln will be a bit more open than Cheltenham have.
Yeah.
Cheltenham were and that Morecambe was. So I think
Yeah.
it will give us the chances to score more goals, and rather than trying to, pass it through.
Who are we
Even
going
though,
for scorers? Seeing as we've been talking about it a lot tonight.
I think Jackson will score.
Yeah. I like that.
Burns. And Chaplin will come off the bench and score.
Yeah.
Burns and Chaplin are my favourite two players, so I've got to go for those two to score.
Love it. How about yourself, Bix?
Well, I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think they'll probably put up a little bit more defensively a game than probably we think they will. They're not doing so great at the minute, and I think they're bottom half, aren't they? So they're not going to want to sort of lose the game, and I think they'll put up a lot of defence. So I'm going to go 1-0 to us, and I think it'll be a penalty.
Interesting.
Who's
Taken by who?
Who is our penalty taker?
Chaplin,
isn't it?
I've had
I think
this
Chaplin's
discussion.
taken. Yeah.
We've had this discussion with other people, and it's like, depends on who's on the pitch. Chaplin's on the pitch, 100% Chaplin every time for me. But
Lena's taken some, isn't he?
But if he's not, if you look, Jackson's missed penalties before. Norwood's missed penalties before. Bon, in his form, could he miss if he's on the pitch? Pigott missed penalties. It's like, who would you choose to take a penalty? Horsey.
What about you, Amy? What are you going for?
I'm going to go for 2-0, I think. I can't see us free scoring goals, but I do hope that since the Donny game, when we only won 1-0 and we really should have been a lot more than that, I think we've learned not to just sit on the 1-goal lead now. And that was one thing that was nice against Morecambe. I know we were coming back from being 1-0 down, but we kept trying and we kept trying, whereas Donny just felt like a training game. So I would like to think that we'll get more than one. I'm going for Jackson as well. And it'll be someone random like Wolfie, I reckon. It'll be something something like that. We were saying actually last time I was there, corners, we just don't seem to have anybody that gets up. But Edmondson did, didn't he?
We've got if you think about those defenders, the heading ability there, the physical threat, we should be scoring. Yeah. Edmondson, Wolfenden, arguably Donasian as well.
Yeah.
But the problem, I think, has actually been the delivery. I wasn't there.
Yes.
I can't comment about how they were at Fleetwood. It sounds like they were better. But against Cheltenham and against Morecambe, they were either hit too hard or they were too close to the keeper. Or it's one of the biggest things I hate about football, other than short corners. Hate short corners, never work. Hit the first man. That's the other thing.
Yes, every time it did that at Morecambe, didn't it? It felt like it was so frustrating.
Well, Morecambe was weird because Thompson, when he took them on the other side on the right, then they were decent, but they went to the back post and no one was there. When he took them from hit the left, then they hit the first man. It's like, you're not getting this right. But
what do you practice in training?
Not corners, clearly. But I think if we got better delivery, then if we had better delivery, we had someone on the back post and we kept some people around the penalty spot, and because then if it went too hard, then you had someone header it in, and you've got then if you keep like Edmondson and Wolfenden in that penalty spot area, then get on a knockdown, I think I'd work. But
Yeah,
I mean,
no, you're right. The players are there, aren't they? We just don't seem to
yeah,
have
I
the
guess
coordination yet.
having played football at uni for a team, then doesn't matter what you do on training. Sometimes, like you can practice the corners all you want, but when it comes to a game, they don't work.
Yeah,
Dodgy kick. The other team set up really well.
Yeah.
So wind.
it's so different in an actual game, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
easy for us to sit there in the stand and say, "Oh, for God's sake, like do this better."
Yeah.
But
Although
we're
I
the
will
ones on the
scream if they
pitch.
keep taking short corners because
Yeah.
I hate them. How often do they ever work? I watch a Premier League game, having no like. I don't care who wins most games. If it's Norwich are playing, obviously I want anyone but them to win.
Yeah, obviously.
But like the Spurs Everton game right now, I couldn't care less who wins. But if someone played a short corner, I'd be screaming at the telly, going, "Why are you doing that?" I did it at the United game yesterday when they were playing short corners, going, "It's not going to work. You're not going to score from them."
Yes.
You're
Not
giving
a lot worked for them yesterday, did it?
no. I mean, better than Everton are right now.
Or what's the score?
5-0.
3-0, wasn't it?
5-0. 5-0.
Oh my
5-0, oh my
on
God.
on the hour mark. So
I just felt bad for Man U yesterday because Man City were just absolutely taking the piss out
Did you
of them,
see the
weren't they?
game?
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I watched the Arsenal game until about 80th minute, and then I fell asleep and woke up half an hour into the City game, thinking it was 0-0. And I looked up and I went, "Oh, it's 2-1. When did that happen?" So I missed most of the first half. But
the best entertainment in that game, and I hate to say his name, but was Roy Keane,
No.
who was commentating, at half time and full time. It was, if you haven't seen it, you need to go on YouTube and look at it. Absolutely. I mean, he's a complete knobhead and I hate him with a passion, but
he's
it's actually
spot on,
quite
though.
funny.
But he's spot on with everything he says, though.
And what was he saying? Because I didn't have the
basically
commentary on.
the players gave up, and they're going to come out on Twitter and apologise. And De Gea already has. I've seen he has today and gone, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's not good enough. We've not been good enough. But it's what you do on the pitch that counts."
Yeah.
And you can look back at our Ipswich teams of old and say the same thing, haven't you? Like, as soon as we concede, then you think, well, that's our game lost because they've given up. You can see that we're not getting back into this. And they'll come out and they'll go, "Oh, yeah, we've not won in 5, but it's gonna turn around. We just keep the faith."
Yeah.
Which is basically what United has done. But from the sound, but United, they're in free fall. But Everton in Championship next season.
Well, they're not having McKenna back, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
absolutely. Wonderful. So now that we're talking about Premier League and gone as probably as far away as you possibly can from Ipswich versus Lincoln tomorrow, ladies, I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will have to tell Martin that we're gonna take his job again sometime soon. So I've really, really enjoyed being on here with both of you. Tomorrow night is Lincoln at home, and Martin will be doing the match day ticket from 7 o'clock. So make sure you join him. I shall be jumping in the comments myself whilst hubby does the kids' bedtime tomorrow.
What's the next game you're going to, Amy?
The next game, I'm not going for a while actually because I can't. March is a bit of an awkward one for me, but my next one will be Cambridge at home. I potentially maybe at Cambridge at home, Rotherham away, Crewe away, and then Charlton at home. So April may be getting a little bit busy for me at the moment.
May I'll
Depends
see you
how much I could sweet talk the hubby.
I'll see you at the Cambridge home game because I'll be in the fan zone with my cousin.
That'd be lovely.
Maybe Rotherham away, Amy.
Yeah, you and I'll have to make sure we meet up for that.
I love Rotherham away. It's one I went to a lot at uni. However, seeing my uncle over Easter for the first time in 2 years, coming over from Holland. So
these things have to take priority, don't they?
Yeah. Look, I want to do Crewe, so might see you at Crewe.
That's a big one for me, I think. So that's the final away day of the season. That's going to be absolutely so much fun. And I've never been to Crewe before either, so I think that'll be a good day out, that one. So but yeah, so Vicky, you and I will definitely make sure that we combine at some point. I'm still
Definitely.
praying for an Ipswich York friendly.
Oh my God.
We'll have to have a word with McKenna. That would be
I'd
amazing.
love that as well, because I love it in York. York's my favourite place.
York's amazing.
Yeah,
It is
it is.
absolutely brilliant. Right, ladies, thank you so much. I am hoping that the Gov is there and ready, awaiting to cancel the show, end the show. Thank you to everybody who has joined. We've had some wonderful comments in the comments, so really grateful. And we'll have to tell Crunch and Matt and Martin to bugger off more often, won't we? We'll come and show them how it's done. Thank you so much. Hopefully we've been a good omen for Lincoln. There you go. If we win tomorrow night, he'll have to have us on every day, and we'll all see you all very soon.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without